This is not a right or left issue, human trafficking. There's 400,000 children missing at the border. Well, where are they? Well, they're being labor trafficked, sex trafficked, and organ trafficked, and they're probably dead. This is a humanitarian issue about children, and everyone should be outraged about it.
I spent 20 years as an Army Ranger, 8 years as a diplomatic security agent all over the Middle East and Europe. We broke up 7 child sex trafficking rings in the 8 years I was over there. And 30 days after I got home, hey buddy, come be a diplomatic security agent down at the border. You work for the federal agency. I mean, we get thousands of different nationalities coming across the border, and they're coming from all different nations. You got your front door open to, the greatest country in the world. So why not come here? It's a tough immigration law now. So if you're caught, you go back. We are making a difference now since November 5th, if you catch the hint.
So I'm Kevin Brown. My wife and I are here in Orange County. Been involved in sex trafficking since 2011, locally, nationally, and internationally. We're focusing pretty much only on the dark web, looking for children who are being exploited on the dark web, and that's worldwide. So once you get on the dark web, we're getting victims that are, videos, photos that are posted, and you can track it by different means. You can find out where that video was shot. And then we forward that to the National Center for Missing Exploited Children, NCMEC, and then they handle all the law enforcement part of it.
I am a survivor of human trafficking, and I'm very grateful in a lot of ways for, what I've been through. They say only 1% survive. For a survivor, I've been out of the life for 40 years, and I'm still suffering the consequences of what it means to be trafficked. I was walking to school when I was 12 years old, and I met a girl who said she went to Valley High School, and we became friends. For a month, she would bring me candy and gifts and really thought she cared about me, and she invited me to go meet some of her friends, and they beat me up, and they took me to Palm Springs and sold me into organized crime. And they had me highly addicted to drugs. There were kids in diapers all the way up to 17, 18 years old, and they sold us to pedophiles day in and day out. I should not be here right now. They were taking me to kill me after they used me up, and I wasn't making any more money, and I was laying in the back of the vehicle. And I heard something tell me to jump out of the car or I'm going to die, and I'm looking at the man driving that vehicle, and nobody was saying anything. But I jumped out of the car when I felt that car getting off the freeway, and by the grace of God, I didn't break a bone.
Harbor Boulevard was active for over 40 years as a track. I think the gentleman on the video called it a blade, right? It's called a blade or a track. That's where victims are forced to walk around and make contact with Johns. We call them perpetrators. A lady from my church came to me, she goes, "Pastor, I don't know what's going on, but there's all these women, they're half naked, walking around at night." She goes, "I've never seen it like this." I said, "What do you think we should do?" She goes, "We should do something about that." I said, "You should do something about that. God showed it to you." And all these volunteers came together, and we would divide up into groups, and we had it all set up. They went through specific training, how to make contact safely so that the victim doesn't end up getting beat up by her trafficker because you're wasting her time on the track, right? Had to teach people how to get a burner number. And now they're talking to victims in the middle of the night, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, when the victim calls, says, "I need help, I've just been raped. Can you come get me?"
I was on the streets, a full-blown crackhead for 10 years, not being able to deal with what I went through. I was in and out of jail from the age 13 because I give them a different ID, and I'd just get arrested over and over and over again. I'd be molested by policemen. I'd be arrested, put in juvenile hall, and molested by the counselors in juvenile hall. This is demonic. These are not just men that say, "You know what, I just like little kids." These are spiritual warfares going on, and it's real. If you don't believe it, believe me, I was in the car with the Grim Sleeper. He killed 52 prostitutes. They convicted him of 10 recently in 2020, died in prison. And I was in that car, with that man. And I didn't know he was a serial killer, but was killing girls on the 108th and Figueroa for years. And he told me he was going to kill me and throw me in the riverbed. And I just started praying. All I knew was the Lord's Prayer. I didn't know God. And I was crying. He said, "You're crying, and I'm getting ready to throw you in the riverbed. Your God can't save you." And I just kept praying that prayer, the only prayer I knew. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Who are these people surrounding my cars? Did you have me followed?" And God manifests his angels, and he threw me out of the car. So don't tell me, if you don't believe in God, it's time you start believing, because I know. And for years, I mean, God has saved my life over and over. And I finally just said, you know what? I give up. You know, a woman came to the jail and she goes, "Would you go to Bible college?" I said, "Sure." And she goes, "After you do your time, we'll pick you up." I went into court, and the court said, "Young lady, I don't know who you pray to, but you're the first person in the history of the Walter Hoving home that wants you to go to New York to Bible college instead of doing your time in prison." I love telling my story because this is God's story. It's not mine. And it is by my testimony that people will be saved.
I started this project in 2016, and every door was opened by God. Not just the survivors get out because of the grace of God. They're stepping into His grace and forgiveness. But also the John, like, he became a Christian and he went through AA, and the former pimp, he did 10 years in jail for being a trafficker, but he became a Christian, and then he created the nonprofit organization Paving Great Futures. And what he does is he mentors gang members and helps them get out of the life. And he even has a culinary school where he gives them job skills to learn so that they can make money another way. So what I'm trying to say, though, is from the survivor to the John to the trafficker, everybody needs God. We all do. No one's getting out of this life without God's grace and forgiveness.
We have to win this in prayer. And like any special forces team, it's not going to take this massive move of church people. God bless church people. That's the only people I train is church people. We need people to pray who know how to pray or want to learn how to pray, so we can target those things in prayer. And that's how we end it in Orange County and anywhere else.
Rescuing the kids, if you rescue 4, that may be just 4, but you just saved 4 kids from the rest of their life being traumatized. But there's a lot of abandoned houses from the mountains of San Diego into Arizona. There's abandoned houses and this and that. We come rolling up.
5 teenage girls were sitting in the house, pair of shorts, bra, nothing else. No clothes, nothing else. The guys, the coyotes, the group of illegals that dropped them off there sexually assaulted them. Now, the instinct on some people would be go find them, bring justice. But we just saved 5 girls from being further traumatized. So we help them out, hand them over to people like Kevin, who help save the victims and calm them down emotionally, help them mentally. But you can only do it for so long till it's on to the next group. Now, we do this daily. It doesn't matter how many days a week I work. If it saves 3 kids, if we get a group of 30 illegals and there's 9 kids, and these 9 kids from the ages of 3 up to 15 don't look anything like the people they're with. Kids look like their mother or their father. But when you're rescuing a group of 30 and 9 or 10 of them are kids, and none of them look like the adults they're with, so we get female case officers come down and they ask them, pull them aside. Are any of them your parents? No. Just saved 3 kids. Just saved 9 kids. Last week, 16 kids we caught. Turned them over to outreach programs. They sent them back home to their parents. The problem is, parents need money. Parents are going to say, go do this for money. And it's a sick, disgusting thing. But that happens. So now what do? You got kids that are sent over here by their parents. We can't send them back because they're going to come right back over. So that's another program that needs to be discovered. Cartels are running this. So when you deal with money and you take money out of an operation, your operation goes to goes south in a heartbeat. You've got to figure out where the money's coming from. There's 376,000 kids still unaccounted for from the last 4 years.
What Steve just said about follow the money, that's one of the things I wanted to focus on in prayer. Because once you defund Satan, he can't do anything. And not only do we defund it, we put it over to where it's supposed to be. The people need help. Amen. So we don't just defund, we direct it. In fact, my wife and I were on a cruise. We were getting ready to go onto the ship, and I saw a guy that I knew he was a trafficker. And he was with a girl who looked like she's like 14. So my wife, I said, I need you to stand right here, because I'm going to act like we're taking a selfie so I can get this guy. So I took like 4 or 5 of him, a couple of her, followed them around a little bit, got some more, and then I sent it to some contacts, and they ran it. They ran him and her. If you see something, call and say something, please. You'd be surprised what you might end up actually rescuing a victim.
One of my survivors, her name's Ori, who will be in the Orange County episode. And Ori now is a survivor advocate. She even trains the FBI and DAs and nurses, like what to look for. I had asked her, what was the worst thing, that had happened to you? What do you feel was the most traumatizing? She was trafficked across the street from Disneyland. She said, I used to look out the window and see, families taking their kids to Disneyland, and where I was being raped by a grown man. She said, all that's been done to me, that's not what was the most traumatizing. The most traumatizing is when I was done working, I would go into McDonald's to get something to eat. And, of course I was in, skimpy clothes. And she goes, but you could tell I was a child. She goes, and not one person said, are you okay? Are you okay, honey? She goes, they had to have known I was a kid. She goes, not only did no one ask, but they would even shield their kids away from her. That was the most traumatizing thing for her, and this girl has gone through everything because nobody is doing what Pastor Kevin is saying. You see something, do something.
Everybody here has a phone. Have a hotline phone number in your notes. You come across somebody, pop that number out and call it. I have a female, 15 years old here, says she's in trouble. Call it. Looking at it is not going to solve it. Engaging in it will solve it. But if you engage in some type of a child problem, you're trying to prevent it from becoming a bigger problem. So have a hotline phone number in your phone. It's not going to get better unless we help. Saving 20 kids a week. I've saved 20. Now there's thousands more missing. But there's thousands more of us out there that can engage.